Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, things are not looking good with the Star Wars Outlaws releases because Ubisoft shares have now hit the toilet, boys and girls. Yes, a company that has produced a lot of great games over the years, including the Assassin's Creed franchise and so many others out there. Well, now that's not going very well for them because the French company out there decided to take a piece out of the agenda, do a bunch of agenda-driven nonsense storytelling, and release an extremely buggy and broken game that is Star Wars Outlaws. They literally had to patch within a few days for the early access people out there, causing them to lose all of their previously saved data and having to start a completely and totally new game. Well, guess what? The numbers for those sales aren't looking so hot. Color us shocked there. And now their stock price has taken a hit because of it, because investors can see the writing on the wall. Star Wars Outlaws is an abysmal failure. It's going to cost Ubisoft hundreds of millions of dollars, and Assassin's Creed Shadows is only going to make this worse. Boys and girls, and here we go. From Gamer World Observer, and we've also got another one over here from investing.com. Because, yes, this has made all the financial analysts out there perk up and have to talk about this as well. Ubisoft shares fall to lowest since 2015, with analysts cutting sales forecasts for Star Wars Outlaws. Oh, yes, boys and girls. Giving us a shock there. You decided to uglify this gorgeous character actress and decided to go down the path of all of the agenda-driven nonsense. And then you produced a broken game on top of all of that. And now you're losing hundreds of millions of dollars. So we're going to check out this article from the Gamer World and, of course, from the investing.com over here as well. And then, of course, give you the live real report on what the stock is doing right now. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, because boys and girls, we are grinding, we are growing, and we are constantly trying to cover absolutely everything pop culture and nerd and geek and gaming news for you guys over here. So make sure you leave us a comment down below and let us know whether or not this surprises you in any way, shape, or form. Does it surprise you that there are analysts out there are already cutting the drastic amount of sales forecast for this game? And does it surprise you at all that Ubisoft stock is taking a major hit for this? So from GamerWorldObserver.com. Ubisoft shares fall the lowest since 2015, with analysts cutting sales forecasts for Star Wars Outlaws. The market isn't optimistic about Ubisoft, whose shares have been falling for 2 days in a row. The French company has reached its lowest level in almost a decade. And yes, boys and girls, as you can see right here, now they're going to reference this in euros, right? Because it's a French company and all that kind of stuff. So that's where you'll hear like numbers like $15 and stuff like that. But if you give it to you a little bit more in American money, USD, 338 is what it's currently sitting at right now. That is an overall all-time decline of 40%. That's if we go max. If we go 5 years, right, you've got a 78% decline, almost an 80% decline in this stock price in just the last 5 years, boys and girls. And it doesn't get much better. A year, just in the last year. If you invested in Ubisoft a year ago, for one, you were probably a fool. You have lost almost 50% of your value just year over year. So this is another little one over here. So investing.com, Paris listed shares in Ubisoft fell on Tuesday, extending declines posted in the prior session, fueled by a relatively muted response to the release of the video game maker's much anticipated new title, Star Wars Outlaws. Yes, muted is a good way to look at it. The market isn't optimistic about Ubisoft, whose shares have been falling 2 days in a row. Ubisoft shares were down 5.1% on Monday and continued to fall on September 3rd. Reuters reported overall the stock has fallen 11% over the past 5 days. At the time of this writing, Ubisoft shares are trading at 1550 euros, which is the lowest level since 2015. It's worse, noting the company was on the rise at the time. While its value has been steadily declining for a while now, the stock has plunged 34% 4% since the start of 2024. The main reason, of course, what they're not going to tell you is because Ubisoft decided to go woke, they are now going broke. It's just a glorious day for those kind of things, boys and girls. If you missed our video over there on Concord getting completely and totally shut down and shelved, definitely go check out that one as well, because it's a glorious day, boys and girls. The pendulum is swinging back. Up is still up. Down is still down. God is still on his throne. And Ubisoft is losing their butt on the agenda-driven nonsense. The main reason for such a decline is the launch of Star Wars Outlaws. Wow! Who could have ever seen that coming? With JP Morgan analyst Daniel Curran stating that the game has struggled to meet our sales expectations despite positive critical reviews. Oh yes, you mean all of that access media that you guys buy and pay for? You mean those folks that praised your game, although there was this lovely little clip at almost the bottom of all of them? If you can avoid all of the glitchy, buggy issues in the game. Oh yeah, except for all of that, because your still overall positive score was nice, but the audience score is absolutely abysmal. So they've lowered their sales expectations for Outlaws by from 7.5 million to 5.5 million units until the end of the current fiscal year, March of next year. I'd imagine it's going to come in even under those estimates by a long shot. Launched on August 30th, Star Wars Outlaws received an average score on Metacritic of 75 to 77 out of 100 on the platform. This is what's interesting, though, because the other article's got some better breakdowns of those numbers right there, but this is what's interesting. GameIndustry.biz head Christopher Ding noted the game's launch physical sales in the UK are 55% lower than Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which its first one, Fallen Order, I actually really enjoyed. I never got around to Survivor. I think I've actually got it on my Steam. I just need to get it. Shout out to the wonderful supporter out there who got me that one. But like literally, it's one of them situations where the last Star Wars entry that they put out, sales are over half of what that one was, but 15% higher than Massive's previous title, Avatar's Frontiers of Pandora. Yeah, color a shock there that a Star Wars game is beating an Avatar game. However, JFK has yet to release a date on digital copies. According to Midcap Partners analyst Charles Louis Planade, another factor that led to Ubisoft's stock price falling is also an decreasing interest in X Defiant, which is a game I don't know anything about, don't really care about. This is just absolutely hilarious. So it goes on here to talk about this one as well. So elsewhere in the analysts at UBS warned that there's a downside risk to their initial estimates for 10 million unit sales for Star Wars Outlaws. Previous Ubisoft games in the Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, which sold 10 million plus units in their fiscal year, all received higher user ratings and were installments of well-entrenched franchises. Oh, you mean like Star Wars? Star Wars? That well-entrenched franchise? It has been around a lot longer than Assassin's Creed and Far Cry. Yeah, that well-established franchise. Yeah, that one. Far Cry is well known, according to Ubisoft. The launch of Star Wars Outlaws has been forecast by Ubisoft's manager as a possible source of increased net bookings during July to the September period. The French group also has been anticipating that Outlaws, along with its upcoming title Assassin's Creed Shadows in November, will help to revitalize performance after 4 years of negative cash flow. How do we think that's going to pan out for them, boys and girls? Ubisoft is looking at themselves down the barrel of 2 back-to-back flops. And I mean flops. Disastrous dumpster fires. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been set on flame over there at Ubisoft between Star Wars Outlaws, which they thought was going to be a home run, and no matter how many complaints the customers told them about, even from the very beginning, that the graphics looked like garbage and they need to go back to the drawing board and work on things. Oh no, Ubisoft knew best. Their CEO knew best, and it was full steam ahead with this Star Wars abysmal bull flop of a franchise situation. Oh no. Forget listening to the fans. Forget listening to the audience. God forbid you listen to your customers. No, they went full steam ahead, just like they're going to go full steam ahead with Assassin's Creed Shadows. And boys and girls, It's just another prime example of go woke, go broke. You could blame it on a broken and buggy game that everybody doesn't want to play and doesn't want to pay $130 to get early access to. You could blame it on that. But Concord had the exact same thing happen to them. And Concord wasn't a broken and buggy mess. It was just woke as shit. And guess what? Star Wars Outlaws gave us all of the exact same red flags that Assassin's Creed Shadows is giving us. And I can firmly say, boys and girls, that Assassin's Creed Shadows will end up being another disastrous dumpster fire. Because look what happened with Star Wars Outlaws. Star Wars! A much bigger and well-established franchise that reaches far more people than Assassin's Creed does. And now, look what's happened. You decided to cater to an audience that, once again, does not show up to buy, purchase, or play your games. You took a Star Wars franchise, a Star Wars game, which is one of some of the few places we've actually gotten decent storytelling in Star Wars, is the games. And you have now done the exact same that Disney has done with the live action stuff and the television shows and the books and everything else. You went woke and now you're going broke. And even the financial analysts out there have to say the same thing. Ubisoft has continued to bleed money and will continue to do so going forward. Go woke, go broke. After all, Ubisoft, you did it to yourself. Star Wars Outlaws is an abysmal dumpster fire of a failure that we love documenting, and Assassin's Creed Shadows will be the exact same thing. Enjoy the losses, Ubisoft. I hope those virtue signal bucks really give you some comfort when you can't pay the bills.